Hello everybody. In this tutorial we are going to discuss how to create a sample HelloWorld program using Neo4J. In previous session we have discussed how to set up the Neo4J in Eclipse. So to verify that, we just have to right click on the Eclipse project, click properties, click on the Java build path, and then we see the Neo4J. Because we have added it as a user library in the previous session, even if we create any new project, we can just add the Neo4J library into it. Okay, now let's create a new class for the Neo4J sample example. Right click on source, go to new, navigate to class, and then package usually is default, so we would say neo4j, and then we'll say hello world is a basic program that we write, and then public static void main, and then we would say finish. Now a class is created. So first, to start on with the Neo4J, we need to create an instance for the database. So where exactly we create, where exactly the actual Neo4J instance that we have installed. That we would mention using as a string. So that would be over here, private static final string db. db is the path, database path, so we can say neo4j db path, that is equal to the path that where we have installed it. So that would be our documents or downloads folder where we have downloaded in the previous session, downloads, and here is a Neo4j. Because we have extracted it, you can see the applications right in here. So that would be the whole path that we need to write it here. We doesn't need C because it would take the root directory, and Java recognizes doesn't recognize the Windows Explorer /. It would recognize the this character instead. So we just have to replace everything / okay. So this is where we say we have to create the path where the actual instance we have installed. So for the comments we can say this is the path of the Neo4j and save it. And then the next step is, as we know, Neo4j is mainly into as the nodes. So we need, for example, we just create two nodes so that we can see the relationship, saying that father knows son. There are few relationship types. So for that, for sample, we would just create two nodes. That would be node, our first node. So we can say what is the first node, whatever the dummy that we want to say. Node first, and then node second. Here it is showing us the error because it doesn't recognize the node. So we need to import. When we click on this, we need to import the org.neo4j.graphdb because we are going to use the graphdb nodes. When we click on this, it would import right in here and there won't be any error. Next, so the relationship type that we want to specify between these first and second nodes, that would be relationship relation. Okay, and then scroll on it, it would say import org.neo4j.graphdb. and then we would import that, because for the nodes it imports node from GraphDB, and for the relationship it would import relationship. And the next comes what is a service, whatever the graph database service that we want. So that would be graph database service. That would be, we can say as graph data service. And then the same thing, scroll on it, and then we would import the GraphDB. Okay. And so the next is next would be whatever the static methods that we have declared, what is the relationship that we want to mention into these two. Let's say in the API we have a relationship that is nose, so we would say first, nose, second. So now how we should mention using we can mention using an enum. That would be private static enum relationship types implements. So this is going to implement the relationship type. And then what is the relationship that we are saying is nose. So and over here we will scroll onto it and then import. So this is to say that we are going to use the word nose so that we are listing the relationship. So the list of relationships. Now what we are doing this because we are saying first, nose, second. We want this relationship. So we are saying first, nose, second. And next, after doing this, what we need to do is, mainly in this Neo4J, we have to create the database. So whenever we create, we just have to remove the instance and then shut down. In order to do that, we create some methods, that is void, whatever the name that you can ask. So we can say that create database, and then we would write code into it as far as dummy. And as I said, after you create, you have to remove the data. So remove the data, and then you have to write as void shutdown. Whatever you have opened the session, you should shut it down. Okay. So it would be create database, remove data, and then the shutdown. So in order to call this, as we know the basic, these are not static. So we would create an instance. HelloWorld is hello equals new hello world. So using this hello instance, we would be calling dot create first, and then hello dot, we would next call remove. After creating, we would remove it, and then we would say shut down. So whenever we call this, what is the code that needs to be performed in the create, and then in the remove, and then in the shutdown, that we need to start coding right away.